Hey everybody, I'm Elwirfy, and today I wanted to talk about something that's kind of been dwelling on me. I wasn't going to make a video on this, actually, but I couldn't stop myself. Because while I was enjoying the holidays, I realized that I can't stop thinking about my finances. And I know people don't like to talk about that kind of stuff on the internet because in America, at least, we have a culture of we'd rather show off our wealth than show off our empty pockets. But, like, especially when you see people like Mr. Beast or, I don't know, anybody on YouTube who has a lot of money and they just have to talk about it, have to show it off. Like, my wife, she watches these videos where, like on TikTok, where these women will clean their messy house, but it's really just more like a house tour because they're showing off their perfect white walls and their nice furniture. And like this one person was talking about how she goes to work and she's a content creator and she just like she sits in her house. I don't know. God. Because this is going to sound really hypocritical because obviously I'd love to do content creation full time, but I think I'm at a point where I've accepted that I'm probably just going to be working for the rest of my life, despite what I do. But then I see a show like this, right? So I see a show that is a game show, and it's all about competing to win money. I mean, all these people, I'm sure, have a very good reason to be here. Squid Game is an incredibly popular IP, and I think that everyone who got on this show absolutely deserves to win some money. And what I think is so incredibly disappointing about our society is that instead of Netflix, who I assume had some sort of selection process to go through and pick out all 456 people for this, Netflix had to go through the interview process and figure out exactly who deserves to, if they play in the game, win $4.56 million. I'm sure there were more than 456 applicants. I'm sure of it. And the show even demonstrates that they did interviews before the show started and during the show of their thoughts and feelings. And the very first thing that this show does is it shows off this, like, I think she looks like she's in her 50s, but I forget her age. I apologize. Elderly looking woman who says that she dreams of paying off her house. And she says that she'd really love to use the money to help out her financial situation, which I'm sure is true for every single person there, to be very clear. I'm not discrediting anyone else. But $4.56 million. And that money, while a lot for one person and is absolutely life-changing, I don't know what the financial status is of everybody there. Like, there's this one guy who said that he dropped out of school to go here. You know, I mean, guys, like, I mean, I went to college, right? I got my bachelor degree, and it's done nothing for me. But I don't know. The fact that people are so desperate that they're willing to possibly tank their academic career over possibly, admittedly, winning a lot of money, I think it just shows how hard it is to really be successful, at least in the United States. You know, and then they in the game, right? They do this thing where they're like, "Oh, every player gets eliminated. That adds $10,000 to the pot." So the studio has decided to, instead of being like, "Hey, win or lose, we'll give every person $10,000." Like, say you get knocked out, you're like, "Oh," or like, you know how in the other game shows they're like, "Oh, hey, second place, hey, you get like a smaller amount." They have the power to help all 456 people who deserve some money because they wouldn't have been picked otherwise. So every single person there deserves some money, according to Netflix, because they were selected. It's just a given. And yet they're going to... I don't know. I think maybe it's just the volume of how many people who are taking time out of their lives, who are struggling, and seeing them compete in a game show, which I'll admit is entertaining and interesting, and it does distract me. But I kept thinking about that first woman who gave that interview, and what Netflix did is they had the interview where she said what she was hoping for and dreaming for, and the reason why she came, and then the next shot is her getting eliminated. And it really just kind of struck me that, I don't know, I feel like sometimes I'm kind of doing everything for nothing. Or that I work really hard to push myself and be a good content creator and make good stuff for you guys to see. And that my dream of being successful on the platform might never come true. That's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, I've been making these videos since I was 15, and now I'm 26. I mean, I'm sure a lot of other people would have given up by now. And everyone here, right? Everyone in this show, every time they get eliminated, it sucks because what they'll do is the show will show an interview of the person and of who they are, and then just get rid of them. They're just gone. Or there'll be a couple of people they might follow, and you'll get multiple interviews of them. But it sucks. It really sucks that the studio is, instead of using its wealth to help people and put on a good show, they're just putting on a good show. I would feel so much more comfortable about the show if every person who got eliminated also got $10,000, and then the winner still gets that $4.56 million. And I know immediately what you're going to say in the comments, but then that would cost the studio $9 million. And let me tell you something, guys. I don't know how much money they're going to make from this show, but I'm sure it's a lot. I'm sure that this show is blowing up right now. Nobody's really talking about it on the internet, but I have a feeling it's going to explode. And before it does, I wanted to get my 2 cents in and point out that in the Korean show, when people died, we didn't really worry about it that much because it's fake. But never watching a show with real people who are trying their absolute hardest to try and survive in a game where it's so hard people die. They don't really die in the show, but they're not dying in the real life one. But they're willing to do something that's that tough for a chance to be successful, for a chance to turn their lives around, or to at least support themselves to be a little more stable. We're struggling after COVID. Everyone is desperate. And I don't know. I'm feeling so hurt that Netflix isn't helping out these people who they think deserve money. It's one thing to be like, oh, well, maybe Netflix interview people and they're like, oh, you have a lot of money. Or maybe people who don't really deserve to be there, right? And they weeded people out. And they also got people who would be good for TV, and they, mic'd everyone up, and they don't know who's the main character until the show's over. And I don't know. I'm really in the middle of dealing with this juxtaposition of I would like watching the show because it's entertaining, because it helps me forget about the real world, so that way I can wake up in the morning and have something to look forward to. So I can keep working and keep hoping that I can save some money, even though every time I get a bill, it immediately disappears. And then there's also the issue of I feel so horrible every time someone has to go home because they're getting nothing. Because I'm watching them do things, it's not like a normal game show where it's like, Jeopardy, answer some questions, right? That's not they're screwing with people in this show. There's this one challenge where they have to just straight up just pick people to go home, just instantly. They're just gone, and it's totally random. I mean, it's not totally because one contestant picks another contestant to get out, but that's so unfair. This game is so screwed up, and it's good in the Korean one because it's a fun kind of. Not really sci-fi, but slightly sci-fi-ish style of show. But, I mean, this isn't even fair. These people are doing things where they know they're probably going to lose. And again, spoilers, if that wasn't obvious. In the part where they have to pick the cookie, there's a moment where this guy, 299, he's actually from my state. He's from Spokane, Washington. And he essentially has, a total breakdown. Because there's this element where like 4 people have to go in a room and they have to agree on what cookie they're going to get. And there's a lot of pressure manipulation to make the Spokane guy from my state go pick the umbrella. And just watching him suffer in a way that I have not seen before truly did upset me, because he was looking around at every single person who he had in his group, who he had forced to take the hardest choice. And I kid you not, out of I think probably 20 people, I think 6 made it. Not him though. He didn't do it either. He failed. And he just, at the very end of it, he just curls up and he throws up. I think the camera cut away, but I'm pretty sure he threw up. I don't know. Everyone's just so desperate, I think, to survive, and I'm just so sick of it. Sick of watching people suffer and struggle. And what I hate more is that every single one of those people in that guy's line, right? They all had to suffer because one guy got manipulated into taking a tough choice. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to think, but I'm going to do my best to relate it back to content creation. You have one chance, essentially, on you. You can try and make multiple channels, but truthfully, you're going to have one channel, and you're either going to do great or not. I've put in years and years of my life into this channel, doing the absolute best I can, and I'm going to keep making videos, because what else can I do? I got to chase the dream. And what I hate is that even after watching the show, even after that, I still think I'm probably going to fail at what I'm doing. I'm probably going to be working real jobs forever. And I've already accepted that fact, but it's tough because I'm able to normally put it out of my mind and just keep going. And I'm looking for other jobs, obviously, like all of us are, trying to improve ourselves, trying to make our lives better. What can I do? What can any of us do when we're faced with a media that sensationalizes watching poor people miss out on things like their dreams, like that one guy who dropped out of college, just to have a chance of surviving in the financial wasteland that we live in? Thank you all for watching. I'm going to make more videos. I hope you watch. Despite what you might think, I stare at my YouTube channel every day, and I look at the numbers. And I just hope that everybody who is showing up and watching, that you're getting as much value out of this as I think I am making these videos. So thank you again. Seriously, it means the world to me.